The episode begins in a quiet classroom where a teacher is mid-lecture. In the middle of the room sits Juyeon, her eyes fixed on a boy across the aisle. Is that Na Sunwon? She wonders. He changed his hairstyle again, not that it matters. The school has been buzzing about him since morning. She can't help but notice his features. He's handsome, pale skin like a porcelain doll, with a perfectly sculpted face. At first, he seemed completely out of place in this small, dusty village, but somehow, he fits. Maybe it's his calm, composed nature, she thinks, but why transfer to a place like this at such a weird time? Within days, he became the prince of the school. Suddenly, the teacher's voice cracks the silence. No, Sunwon. Since you've had enough sleep, why don't you come up and solve this problem? Sunwon stands up, looking troubled. Teacher, wait. This is a bit difficult for me. The teacher frowns. Difficult? You told me you already covered this chapter back in Seoul. Sunwon admits. I've seen the theory, but I've never actually solved this specific problem before. The teacher turns to Juyeon. Fine. Juyeon, come up here and show him how it's done. Juyeon walks up and solves the problem effortlessly. Well done, the teacher says. And here I thought you weren't paying attention. But then again, you are the top student of this class. Juyeon thinks to herself, actually, I'm the top student of the entire school. But of course, that's easy when the school is this small. The teacher turns back to Sunwon, mocking him. Sunwon, don't act superior just because you're from the big city. Aren't you embarrassed to be outdone by a girl? Suddenly, a loud thud echoes through the room as a boy slams his foot on the floor. Teacher, class is over, he yells. The teacher snaps back. Byung-jin! Who gave you the right to decide when my class ends? Byung-jin stands up, unfazed. But I really need to use the bathroom. Look, I've already loosened my belt. The teacher sighs in annoyance. Unbelievable. Fine. Class dismissed. Everyone, get out of here. As the students pack up, they whisper about Byung-jin. What is his problem? He's so shameless. And honestly, kind of terrifying. Sunwon approaches Juyeon. Juyeon, I'm so sorry. You had to go up there because of me. Juyeon stands up, her face cold. Get out of my way. I need to go to the washroom and you're blocking the path. Another girl scoffs, leaning towards Sunwon. Seriously, look at her attitude.
Don't waste your breath on her, Sunwon. She'd just ruin your mood. As Juyeon walks away, she thinks bitterly, this is all so ridiculous. My clothes are old, my life is a mess, and everyone here is just like me. Yet somehow, I'm the one stuck at the bottom.
In the middle of it all stands one person, Na Sunwon. As she walks away, she thinks to herself that when night falls, darkness swallows the hills first. But why is she climbing this hill instead of going home? Sadly, her home is not a place where she can study. She doesn't even have a desk and she can't study at school because the atmosphere there isn't great. She doesn't want to attract any more attention to herself, which is how she stumbled upon this house. It's an old house. She found it while running away from her drunk mother who was beating her. It's built on top of a hill and looks almost like a temple. Even though it's summer, the inside remains very cool. It's the perfect place for her to study. Looking at the furniture, it doesn't seem like it was abandoned long ago. Someone used to live here, but what does it matter? Now it's just lying empty. She goes to open the lock, but it was already open. She realizes there is another person who knows about this place. She goes inside where Byung-jin has just woken up. He says, "Oh, so you've arrived." Juyeon thinks to herself that he is not just the most notorious boy in school, but in the entire town. She asks him, "Does this mean you haven't just arrived, but you've been sleeping here this whole—" Don't waste your breath on her, Sunwon. She'll just ruin your mood. As Juyeon walks away, she thinks bitterly, this is all so ridiculous. My clothes are old, my life is a mess, and everyone here is just like me. Yet somehow, I'm the one stuck at the bottom. Time Jin replies, yes, I've been sleeping here. He climbs down and asks Juyeon, do you want some ramen? Juyeon says, no, I'm exhausted. Jin asks, should I add an egg or not? She gives in, add one, but don't scramble it like last time. Juhan thinks that, as you can see, this abandoned house is split between the two of them. She found out about Jin only a short while ago. He lost his parents when he was young and spent his time wandering between relatives. Homes before starting middle school. People whispered that he was transferred to this school because he had assaulted a teacher at his previous one. Rumors say his family was connected to a gang and his parents were stabbed to death. All sorts of dark rumors surround him. Even though they had been in the same class since their second year, she had never spoken to Jin and never intended to. She thought it would stay that way until graduation. However, she discovered this house just a week ago and started coming here. Suddenly, she hears a noise and wonders what it is. She looks up and sees Jin, who had just woken up and looked quite terrifying. Juyeon gets extremely scared seeing him and screams loudly. She says, I'm sorry. I didn't know this was your house. It looked abandoned and there was no key here and I'll leave right this second, she says, panic rising. Juyeon wonders how long he had been there and why she had to run into such a terrifying person. Jin looks at her and says, this isn't my house. It's just an empty building. No one has been here for a month, Juyeon counters. Then what are you doing here? Jin simply replies, I was sleeping. What's the matter? What are you overthinking? Juyeon mumbles, nothing. As he turns to leave, he adds, you came here to study, right? I'm going back to sleep. You can stay as long as you want. Juyeon tries to stop him. Wait a second! But Jin has already gone back to sleep. Jaeyoon wonders if she should leave. Who knows what kind of guy he is or what he might do. But I won't find a better place to study than this, she thinks. He found this house first, but if I had found it, he wouldn't have any right to claim it. She creeps closer to Bishin and Jin, watching him. Is he actually asleep? And how did he even know I came here to study? Suddenly, Jin speaks up. What is it? If you have something to say, just say it. Juyeon is startled, her head bumping against the structure as she loses her balance and begins to fall. Jin quickly grabs her hand and pulls her toward him. You shouldn't come up to the second floor, he warns. The railing is very low, so be careful. Jeon turns red with embarrassment and pushes him away. Jin smirks. Wow, what a great thanks for saving you. She demands. How did you know I came here to study? Jin explains, I saw you 2 days ago. When I woke up, I saw you at the desk studying. I recognized you just by looking at your back, so I went back to sleep. Juyeon is stunned. You recognized me just from my back? He replies, yeah, because you sit right in front of me in class. Jeon wonders if people can really identify someone just by their back. Jin continues, if you had tried to use my bed, I would have kicked you out. But it looked like you only needed the desk, so I figured we could make a deal. We both need a quiet place and we both want different things, he says. That way, we won't bother each other. Jeon thinks that his logic isn't actually wrong. She asks him, you come here to sleep, right? Why don't you just sleep at your own home? He fires back, and what about you? Why don't you study at your home? Juyeon realizes that he too has his own reasons. Are you sure this place is truly empty? She asks. What if someone actually shows up? Jin says. The next time, we'll put a lock on this place and share the key. Juyeon hesitates, but wait. Wouldn't it be more comfortable for you to have this place all to yourself? Why share? Jin repeats, I already told you I think we can make a deal. Now, do you want the key or not? Joyeon quickly answers, yes, I want it. Baeumjin dismisses her, then go back to your spot. Joyeon wonders if this is truly okay, then asks him, by the way, do you even know my name? Baeumjin replies, yeah, you're Juyeon, the top student. Just because I'm not good at studying doesn't mean I don't remember names. Juyeon thinks to herself that she doesn't have many options left anyway, so she has to make this work. That was how the arrangement between her and Baeumjin began. They divided the house into two zones. Baeumjin sleeps on the second floor, and she studies on the first. Even though they share this abandoned house, their relationship at school remains exactly the same. They don't bother each other there. It wasn't like they had any reason to talk before, and at first, they barely spoke at the house either. But eventually, he started bringing ramen, and they began eating together. Simple conversations followed. However, the biggest problem is that he always cooks ramen. He's more of a normal guy than I expected, she thinks. She complains to him, how many eggs did you put in here? The yolk is broken. I told you I don't like it when the yolk breaks. Baeumjin scoffs. Hey, we're eating from the same pot. There's no way. Our tastes are going to match perfectly. If you want it a specific way, make it yourself. She asks him, is there anything you don't like? Baeumjin replies instantly, obviously, your bad attitude. Just then, Baeumjin takes a bite, and a splash of soup lands right on Juyeon's shirt. Hey, look what you did, she yells. Baeumjin shrugs. You can just wash it when you go home. Juyeon is fuming. She had planned to wear this shirt all day. If my fist were a little bigger, I'd punch your face. Baeumjin sighs. Fine, just take it off. I'll wash it. Juyeon freezes. What? Take what off? You'll wash what? Baeumjin looks at her plainly. You said I ruined your shirt, so take it off and I'll wash it for you. Juyeon is so shocked she jolts back, hitting her head against the wall again. Baeumjin asks, is hitting your head some kind of hobby? Are you only crazy because you're so smart? Jiyeon snaps. Keep your mouth shut. Suddenly, Baeumjin starts taking off his own shirt. Jiyeon panics. Wait, what are you doing? He says, wear this and give me your shirt, I'll wash it. Do you want me to wash it or not? Juyeon thinks to herself that washing clothes is a difficult chore, and the water gets freezing cold in the evening. If she wants to save herself the trouble, she takes the shirt from him and says, fine, wait outside. A little later she calls out, I've put it on. You can come in. He enters and Cheon goes to hand him her shirt. Baeumjin just stares at her. Cheon asks, what's wrong? Aren't you going to take it? Did you change your mind? Baeumjin says don't ever say things like that anywhere else. Joyeon is confused. Say what? Hey, finish what you were saying. She sits back down to eat, thinking how funny it looks to see such a big guy doing chores. Now that I'm actually looking at him, his physique is quite impressive. Surprisingly, there are no tattoos on his back, and his clothes smell really good. He is completely different from her first impression. Baeumjin asks, what are you doing now? Juyeon says blushingly, this ramen is so spicy. How much chili powder did you put in here? A while later, she finishes her studies. Baeumjin was sleeping soundly in his bed, but he suddenly wakes up and starts coming downstairs. Are you going home? He asks. Jaeon wonders if he has some kind of cat-like sense, because he always wakes up at the exact right moment. She had planned to tell him when she was leaving, but since he wakes up on his own every time, she doesn't have to worry about it. Baeumjin asks, how are you going to get home? It's pitch black outside. Juyeon teases, are you worried about me? You can walk me home if you want. Then, seeing his expression, she quickly adds, oh no, it's fine. I have a flashlight anyway. Baeumjin counters, that's exactly why I asked. Don't go walking around with that. Do you want to shout too? Everyone that you're staying here? Don't you know how visible a flashlight is at night? Juyeon mutters to herself. Then how am I supposed to walk in the dark? Beamjin starts searching for something and pulls out a long wooden stick. Juyong asks fearfully, "Wait, what are you doing?" Beamjin tells her, "Grab this and follow me. My night vision is very good." She holds onto the other end of the wooden stick and follows him. She thinks to herself that she didn't realize she'd have to go home like this every day. But he even made a handle for her so she wouldn't get hurt. He keeps surprising her by acting completely opposite to the dark rumors. Beamjin says, "We're almost there." Juyeon wonders if he really is like a cat and tells him, "It feels like you're part of the cat family." Belong to the cat family. Even your name has tiger in it. Cats are known for their night vision. They can see easily, even with very little light. Beamjin replies, "Oh, so you actually know about things like that," Juyeon continues. "Besides, you sleep all day and night." Beamjin asks, "Do you? Want to know what I do at night, then?" Jiyeon quickly says, "No, I was just thinking. If one day you suddenly stop coming here, how will I get back home in this darkness?" Beamjin simply tells her, "Then just go home before it gets dark." Jiyeon asks, "You mean during the day?" As she says it, she thinks to herself, "I can't go home during the day." After dropping Juyeon off at her destination, Beamjin starts to head back. Juyeon turns around to say thanks, but he had already walked quite a distance away. She stands outside her house, which is surrounded by empty liquor bottles. She thinks she was drinking all night again. If this keeps up, she's going to die one day. She opens the door and walks in, only to find her mother standing there, looking creepy. Suddenly, her mother throws a tub full of water over Juyeon and begins to beat her mercilessly. Juyeon thinks to herself, "I wish I had stayed there just a little longer. Please wait for the next part, coming soon."